I'm your host, Madrina Ciano, and welcome to Rolling with Madrina. I'm a community service organizer, motivational speaker, and an advocate for the people. I am living proof that your struggle can be your story and your trauma can be your triumph. I've dedicated my life to giving back, and I want you to roll with me while I speak with those in our community who are doing what they do best. Now watch and listen for what you can do to join their cause. Aloha, Madrina Ciano here, your host of Rolling with Madrina every week on Blab TV, where I get the privilege and the honor to bring to you information about organizations that are making a great difference in our community, all types of causes, from children's museums to human trafficking and everything in between. My causes that hit closer to home are where people are hurting and struggling, especially with addiction or depression, and just breaking the cycle to get out to be able to be a better person and to heal themselves and to move forward. And I've had some of these guests or this topic here on the show before, this organization. I've got a new gentleman here with us today, but I'm talking to the individuals from the Center for Excellence and Jamie's Mom's House. We have Russ Moyer here. He is the founder of this Center for Excellence, which we're going to find out what is that, what do they do, and who do they do it for. And also have Katie Barker here. She's the director for the Center of Excellence, and they work in conjunction with another one of my friend, her friend, his daughter, Melissa Moyer Push, who's not here today. I was looking forward to seeing you, sis. I'm sorry to hear you're under the weather, and I'll catch you next time when I have you guys back on. But I'll be sure to take care of your dad here, and we'll get your message out there for you. So welcome for your first time here.
Thank you so much for having us and for all the wonderful support and fellowship that we've had with you over the last season. Like I said when I first met you, you're already a legend in the circles that I go in, and everybody talks about how wonderful you are. This was our first time to meet. Thank you so much for everything you've done.
Humbling. Legend is kind of a bold word, but I've got to meet these friends that are saying those things about you because I like them already. But I was preparing for Melissa to get here, so I have my tissues because Melissa would speak about, and her father Russ will, Jamie's Mom's House, and it was where Melissa lost her son Jamie, long story short, through a battle of drugs, and has then made it her mission to help reach back and help other children that are struggling, other mothers that are struggling with addicted children or children that have been lost. And so it's a sensitive topic for me. As you know, I lost my two siblings due to drug addiction, and so it's very sensitive to me, so I might have to grab a tissue there. But who wants to give us a recap on both different organizations? Who can tell me more about either one?
Well, the Center for Excellence, actually I began to do this more than 35 years ago while I was in business. And
what business was that? What kind of business were you in before?
I had a security business. It started in the basement of my house with just a few people that turned into 5 companies in the security-related field.
Wow.
And right from our business, we began to open up to programs that would help the community. And we called it the Center for Excellence, and I had a weekly television program with it as well, where we actually opened up our business and met people where they were and gathered together grassroots community leaders, political leaders, faith-based organizations, people that had the heart to see the community change and transform one life at a time.
And 25 years ago you started that?
More than that, maybe 30 years ago, something like that.
So today, do you still gather all of these interdisciplinary leaders in the community, or what does it do now?
And I've had other Center for Excellence that I have birthed in different places as well.
Oh, beautiful.
This here is really, it's about gathering together the community, political organization, but meeting people, particularly in a few areas that are really, really important right now. And they've always been important, but right now they're on the forefront, whether it's in a political arena, whether it's in crime and things that are going on in our society. There's a lot of situations and problems that are happening, and the 2 areas right now that are most important are certainly the addiction, the area of addiction, and how it affects not just the addicted individual, but how it has an impact on the entire
family.
Yes, and it also breaks down on a community basis and affects the entire community
100%.
Because of the behavior issues that occur in the groups that are that gather together with the undermine our society and things like that. It's a very difficult situation. The other thing that I think is probably the human trafficking, and that's really Katie's heart. And the first time she began to speak about Aware Initiative, you know, I guess like a lot of us, I thought this thing was like all over the world. You know, it's happening over here, happening over there, this country, that country. She brought it to the place where I knew that it was happening here, there, and everywhere. That it was happening right here in my backyard. And she brought awareness to me, and I think that's the first thing that has to happen. This is an epidemic that's going across the country, just in the nations of the world, the same as the epidemic that's with drugs. It's the same problem. It's a major problem, and they tie together. And her heart of bringing awareness, that's the first step. Whether it's with drugs or any other life-changing, life-altering issue, the first place, a place of confrontation, where you actually have to stand up and have an awareness that you have an issue.
Right.
She does a great job. You know, you said I was the founder, but that is so, you know, it's the people that work together. It's the teamwork that makes the dream work.
What are you guys working on right now? Like, what is the Center for Excellence doing now? What happens there on a day-to-day? Is this something where people are coming together, meeting weekly, monthly? Like, what happens there, and where is it?
The newest thing that Katie is birthing, and that we're birthing through our group and organization, is the community pantry. We have been passing out and distributing food, truckloads of food, along with some other people that gather with us, some other organizations, and been doing that once a month. But you know, the problem that we're running into today, many of the people who we're doing food distribution with, this is actually their first encounter with ever having to do that.
Right.
But the economy has changed so much that these are hardworking people who are trying to make ends meet, who were breaking even a year ago.
Right.
And now they're 20% in the well. They don't know where to go. They're still working, trying to work their way out of it. And what they need is a bridge. They need a hand, not a hand out, a hand up, just to build a bridge, to get them through to where things can, again, begin to function properly. So there's a lot of issues that go with that, for them to come out and to be a part of it. So we saw what was happening with passing out thousands of pounds of food, and it was happening once a month. But then we found in between that there were other things and other needs. And Katie came up with a wonderful concept of community pantry, where there'll be different times, people will be able to register, come in. It doesn't mean we're going to stop any of our food distribution. It means that we're going to add this so that people can begin to develop something ongoing to help them. We're in a crisis.
Yeah, you've been doing this for so long. You definitely touched on the fact that there are people who have never been in the need for help, that have been in line for food, that have been there for a handout ever.
Yeah.
But that just speaks, you know, the working poor.
Yeah.
You know, people are working
That's
and
right.
working and working. They're working full-time jobs, sometimes 2 jobs.
Right.
And right now in this economy, it is a tough time. And so you're seeing more people than ever, right?
Yeah, what we're noticing is too, you know, at the food drives, we're doing a great job of meeting that need, but what we're not doing is we're not being able to have a real relationship. You know, we're putting boxes in cars and we're sending them on, putting boxes in cars and sending them on. What our real vision is what the pantry is, you know, when people come in and out, and they're going to be able to see them each week, see them each month, I'm going to get to know their kids, I'm going to know them, I'm going to get to know their need, and we offer those practical skills classes that we talked about last time. My goal is now to be able to meet them on an individual need where, hey, our budget was working for us before, now we can't, now I'm running, hey, well, we have a budgeting class, or hey, I need a new job, my job's barely making it. Hey, don't worry, we've got a career class. We can get you hooked up with that. So our goal is to really see those needs. And in the area of town that we're in, we also see a lot of the drugs. We see a lot, hey, you
And
got
where are
somebody
you?
struggling?
You're at 6847 West Fairfield Drive in Pensacola, where
Yes.
you need to be.
Yeah, right over there by Escambia High School.
I got a silly question, and I don't mean to stump you
Yeah.
and get political, but we need another food pantry? I mean, we've got a few in town. What's going on?
I think it's a point of contact where people can feel comfortable. One of the things that happens and why some people, especially now in their first encounters where they really need help, they need to be in a place where it's not judgmental. It's just a relaxing relational thing that we can build a bridge with them. And then to put them on track with practical life skill programs that can meet their need and be a resource center for them. That they can come there, they can meet, they can talk, they can be equipped for their job, find a place where they can network, because there's a lot of people working together in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is to
and
be
not
a
only just to
resource
give
center.
them their food, but to see what is it that's their struggle.
Right.
What is
Right.
getting you? Is it
Yeah.
child care that you're having an issue with, transportation, what have you? And then you can try to
Right.
send them to other agencies.
Exactly.
You partner with other agencies as well.
yeah, we
you
have
want to name
about-
drop a few?
Well, yeah, we've partnered with so we've got the Secret Place with human trafficking, we've got the Dream Center with homelessness and human trafficking, the Canopy of Hope, we've got the Nisi group with human trafficking, the Washburn Center we hook up with. I mean, basically, we are just building, the Sheriff's Department, we've been to things with the school district. I mean, we are looking to build those relationships because we know what we've been called to do and what we're supposed to do. What we're trying to do is fit the puzzle piece where we are, what everybody else is doing. Because it is going to take a village to get us out of the problem, because it didn't just happen overnight. This has been a thing that's come in, especially with the drugs, with the human trafficking. All of that is not something that happened overnight. It's not something that's going to be fixed overnight. The mental crisis that's going on with our teenagers and our kids that are pushing toward the drugs and pushing, all of these are not things that started overnight, and they didn't start with one person. They started with a group. So it's going to take a group of us to solve it.
And you know, when you say that, you know, and I think about it, you know, those of you that are watching that might have come from an affluent background or live in an affluent community where maybe you don't see the homeless wandering the streets. Maybe you don't see the underserved on their bicycles in 106-degree heat trying to get to their job and earn a very below, you know, a low, and still be poor, broke, and hungry.
Yep.
You don't see that, and you're in a bubble. Great for you. But these are individuals that are in our community, that affect our community, that have children that are in our community. So you're watching the news now. I've been watching it lately. We've got crime sprees more than I've ever seen, and just people just shooting their lovers and their spouses and their girlfriends. That's crazy, and that's where we have to address it all as a community together.
Yeah.
Going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more from the Center of Excellence in Jamie's mom's house.
Do you want to create but don't know where to start? Our new fabric line will inspire you. If you can dream it, we can help you make it. From using kits that include everything you would need, to taking classes to create something more personalized, Daryl's is the place for you. No matter if you're just beginning or experienced, Daryl's has you covered. Find us at 6705 North Davis Highway, open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays.
Hi, I'm Madrina. Be a mover and shaker in our community by helping others overcome problems ranging from health to substance abuse, from personal safety to neighborhood issues, from taking care of your kids to taking care of your parents. Come on our show and tell people how you did it. Be a community hero and watch Rolling with Madrina, Thursday nights at 8:30, only on Blab TV.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
When you enter the world of autism, it can leave you feeling overwhelmed and alone. That's where Autism Pensacola comes in. We guide you through the maze of community services available to families affected by autism in the Gulf Coast area. We also offer programs like Kids for Camp, Sensory Street, Project Lifesaver, and opportunities for families to enjoy each other and socialize. And rest easy, because the second you walk through our door, you will never be alone again.
Welcome back. We've got Rolling with Madrina rock stars here from Center for Excellence and Jamie's mom's house. We talked about the Center for Excellence in the first half, and we touched on just, I mean, I don't know if it's an epidemic in the world, but certainly in our country. And I happen to think personally it stemmed from the shutdown, you know, with the kids out of school and then this mask. It just seemed like everybody went crazy. I don't know what happened, and we've not been the same since. And now you see, you know, boyfriends shooting their girlfriends at Home Depot and just crazy stuff in our society right now. And a lot of it comes from mental illness, loneliness, self-medicating, drinking and drugging, and what have you. And when you don't address those issues, what's the root of those problems? The only way you can do that is to go through them. And if you don't address those issues, they're going to address you, and then you end up with a problem. So let's talk a little bit more about what do you offer the people? What do you want them to know? Who can benefit from seeing you? What programs do you offer? Let's let them know about everything, sis.
All right, yeah. So we got 4 main programs that we operate out of right now. One is our Jamie's Mom's House, which she was on here with me. Melissa was on here, the founder. Jamie's Mom's House was founded because Melissa lost her son to addiction, and that actually is his grandson. And what she found is in that time when they were struggling, there was nobody to walk that with them. Like, there was nobody there to help them. There's lots of programs for those that are addicted. There's a lot of rehab stuff, but there was nothing for the families to say, hey, we're just here. Just somebody to pick up the phone in the middle of the night and just listen to, you know, hey, I thought I was a horrible mom, or I thought I was this, and I don't want to get out of bed in the morning, and I don't want to go back to work. I don't want to keep on living if they're not living. And so Melissa has formed a group around people that like her, that have that same heart, just to love people and just to listen to people about where they're at. So we just did a back in October, or I guess in August, the
and
end
to
of
take
August.
the stigma out of it. I mean, I know it's a little different now, but probably when Jamie was young, it was like, okay, well, he's a drug addict and you're a bad mom.
Right.
And that's what you're sort of left with in society today. And that is not the case. Drug addiction has no socioeconomical discrepancy. I mean, it can hit kids at Harvard. It happens everywhere.
Well, and you know, we sat through several talks back in August, because August is Overdose Awareness Month, and we sat through several talks here in the city, and they talked about like the epidemic of mental health that's actually going through our kids. They gave staggering statistics about how 20 minutes on social media has mental health implications, and our average kid is spending 9.5 hours on social media a day. So there's plus you've got the identity thing all going on. You've got all kind of stuff, bullying, like you don't have the same shoes as me, so like you're not, and it's rampant in our society
and now it's
today.
Like, I didn't get enough likes. I didn't get 100 likes. I'm not popular, and kids are suicidal because their TikToks are. I mean, it's out of control. What are we to do?
Well, we need each other.
Yes.
You know, we're better together. For me, when we lost Jamie, it was probably one of the most difficult moments in my whole life. And I've had problems in my own life and my entire family with drugs and alcohol addiction and problems and situations, and we worked our way through it, so many of them, and being there at the right time, the right place. Jamie was a fine young man. He was very gifted, very talented, a lot of ability, tall, handsome young guy, and the apple of my eye. And he was more than my grandson. His father was not directly involved very much in his life, so I was more of a father figure and a grandfather to him. And when it happened, I happened to have been in the Arctic, and when we lost him, and he'd gone through Bible school, rehab. He's just a fine young man. He went through all the trials and tribulations, and somehow in the beginning of this fentanyl situation, somehow he overdosed, and things happened outside of Philadelphia, in a very difficult area, actually rather wealthy area, because a lot of times in places of wealth is where it happens, from good families. It has nothing to do with economics. It has nothing to do with how well they were trained, whether they were parented properly. This is an issue that is facing our entire society, and it affects the whole family. And it affected me that day in a way, and it took me a long time to process. Also, at the same time, I almost lost my daughter, who I love, and you know, every time I talked to Melissa, it was bad. It should have been me, Dad. I don't want to live. I don't want to go on. So I was trying to process the whole grieving situation of losing my grandson, who was so close to me. And now every time I talk to her, it was, Dad, I can't go on. I don't want to go on. I don't want to do this. And to the point where I was grieving, and it was hard even for me to help, and my wife helped, and everybody. But in the end, she had to have that personal encounter that she had with who she is, and with, of course, with Jesus Christ, who she serves. And boy, did that ever cause a turnaround. And she moved on from it. And now to see his death having meaning, and so many people being helped and aided, and families that are being helped, taken care of, because the whole family system breaks apart in the midst of that. And a lot of times there's economic problems, and problems too with stealing and lying and deception, and every relationship in their life breaks down, and they have nowhere to turn. And now, even then, when a child passes, the family is still left trying to put the pieces together. And that's what we try to do, is to try to be somebody, to be there for them.
There you go. That's the tagline. To be somebody's somebody. And that's what Jamie tries to do when you're that mother and you don't know where your kid is, and he's out on a binge for a night or 2 or 3, and you can't even sleep. If you've never been there, then you just don't understand what that feeling is. You don't know what it's like to maybe get in your car and wander the streets looking for your addicted child, or to call the hospitals and think maybe he's there, or is he in jail? I mean, nobody wants that for their kid. No kid wakes up and says, I think I'd like to be a drug addict when I grow up. That's just something that accidentally happens. And I remember Jamie's story from Melissa. You're just in high school and you're drinking a beer and someone likes to join and somebody pops a pill and you're like, been there. I'm living proof. I mean, that you can come out of it, but it's not that, that they're just bad people. Sometimes they're just partying and it gets carried away. And so much guilt that his daughter had, and so that's what y'all are there, to be somebody. Is there a hotline, or how is it that you are somebody? Well, how do they reach you?
So Jamie's Mom's House has a Facebook group, and so you go on the Facebook group, they take messages all night long, every night long. People drop their phone numbers in there, and Melissa answers those calls. We have a team of about 4 people now that actually will answer those phone calls, call you back, and then once you got the number, you've got the number, right? And then you can just call whenever you have, because sometimes it's not just the nights, although those are the most, because they are the most, where are they, what's going on, but there's during the day, like you're having lunch and like they're not there anymore, and you think about like, I used to pick them up from school at this time, or I used to do this at this time, and it's just that person that's never there anymore, right? It's that empty, the holiday seasons are coming up, and it's that empty chair at every single table. And I think that that's what Jamie's Mom's House does a really good job of, and in the center too, is seeing where people are, offering programs and services that can help you right where you are. Now we're going to start building a bridge into your tomorrow, because although that person, again, that chair is empty, you still have a purpose, and like Melissa, you can join the army that Melissa's basically forming against this opioid crisis and against human trafficking, because she fights the same thing with me when she's out there, because now our kids are getting addicted by pimps because they're so vulnerable, putting them on drugs. So it's not even that they were just trying to get high at a party, it was that somebody's feeding them, so now that they can control them. And I think that that's really the thing, that as soon as we wake up as just a nation and as a group and say enough is enough, it's not just targeting, the elderly, it's not just targeting adults, and it's not just targeting college kids. I mean, these statistics are in our elementary schools, right? So that's what we're trying to do, is just offer those programs and services, from being able to feed you, from practical skills, from awareness on opioids and drugs, and places where you can come and just talk to somebody that's safe. That is what we try to offer. That's what the Center for Excellence is trying to do, to show you that excellence today might not be excellence 10 years from now, but it's okay that this is what your excellence is, because at the best you can do in that moment that you're in, that's excellent.
Day at a time, one day at a time.
Sometimes we think it's only illegal drugs and the drug user or the addict or alcoholic, but you know what? This has permeated all of our society. There are many people that are addicted now to prescription drugs. There are parents that are going through all different types of emotional problems, like you talked about. Some of them on the back end of the pandemic, going through trauma and depression and sadness, emotional problems, mental illness problems. They begin to get treated, and the next thing you know, something happens and they're addicted.
You see that on Netflix about Xanax?
Did
you see that? The painkiller?
Yes, the painkiller.
People are just like taking them like they're vitamins, and it's supposed to be short term, and people are living on them for years. But all of this outreach that you do to the community, your food pantry, your feedings, your counseling, it costs money.
Yeah.
How do you offset those expenses? You got some events coming up?
We do. We've got our Holes for Hope charity golf tournament that we host. That's going to be at Perdido Key, or the Lost Key, I guess, in Perdido Key. And we had a great time last year, earned some good money. It's our big, huge fundraiser for the year. We're going to have 72 golfers out there golfing. Big thank you and shout out to everybody who sponsored and donated. We actually have Ruby Joy Enterprises as our main hole sponsor. We've had 2 other premium sponsors come in. So thank you for all those people who have hooked up and worked with us, because that's what it takes. It really does take funding. Businesses, we have Excellence Institutes that partner with us on a monthly basis, giving us funds, giving us portions of their business, sowing back into the community, that's sowing into them. We have individual donors who, again, some of them have people who addiction has touched their heart, so they sow into the addiction aspect of Jamie's Mom's House. We have people who are like, hey, I'm all about feeding people. We need to feed people. So we give them they sow into our food pantry. And then again, other people are about human trafficking. They sow into the human trafficking awareness. So there is a place to plug in and a place to give. And again, it can be a one-time donation, an in-kind donation. Sometimes we put stuff up on our Facebook. Hey, we need some shelving, or hey, we need a refrigerator.
What
Or
are
hey,
your
we're
needs?
looking.
What's your wish list right now?
Well, right now.
What do you need? Tell the universe and let it deliver.
All right. Right now, what we need is we could use a couple more freezers, refrigerators. We got some combos that we can use for the food pantry. It allows us to go refrigerator versus freezer. So we could use 2 more of those. And then always, 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 any donations as far as food, anything like that coming into the pantry, we always have a need for that, especially bread items and things like those that go bad quickly, we give away quickly. So any of that you ever have or that you would like to donate, please send it our way.
Send it your way. 1 minute. You want to close us out?
We look to the government. We look to this other outside source, but you know what? It's us. It's you and I working together, walking together, working together, standing together against these things that are fighting our society from the inside out, that are attacking homes and families and circumstances of people's lives. People have fallen through the cracks of the system. We need to work together. We need to cooperate together. We need to walk together, work together, live together, encourage and strengthen people in the midst of this adversity they're going through. If we can be there for somebody, if we could just stand and do that little bit more, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're seeing lives change now, one life at a time.
As we say, we need Aloha and we need our God. So please be somebody. Check out the Center for Excellence and Jamie's Mom's House. And thanks for rolling with Madrina. Aloha.